We're live. I hope you guys can hear me and I hope I'm not too loud. Oh, I might have to change angles because the light. What, what is he doing? What is he doing? Hold on, y'all. Let me readjust real quick. Excuse me, back up off me. Dial. I think he's obsessed with money. I'd be obsessed too if it was money. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Okay. Oh, shit. This is better. All right, y'all. So I'm here. I'm gonna do two separate videos. Oh, I look a mess, but who cares? But yeah, whew, child. I finally quit my old job and I'm currently working with my new job, so I'm super happy. Back up. No. I'm super happy right now because that other job was like draining the fudge nugget out of me, like bad. But yeah, let me see. I'm sorry if it's like ruffling and stuff. I got a mic and I feel like the quality would be way much better. But excuse me. Oh my god. Excuse me. These dogs is disrespectful. They don't care. I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, I did a previous video on Michael Jackson. I still got the notes. Um, and I wanted to rephrase some stuff. I still don't know much about editing and all that extra jazz. So I I'm just gonna redo the video and I missed some key points as well. And I realized after the fact and I was like, so I'm gonna just redo the video and hopefully I remember the key points that I wanted to say. But yeah, this video is gonna be about Michael Jackson. And I don't know, like something about this particular movie that the movie that just recently came out and fuck Netflix because that's a damn shame. Y'all want to make a documentary about him and his allegations, but y'all don't want to make a documentary on the real folks that's out here doing harm. You know, that's why they painted Michael that because of the fact that they could not understand why he has such true, genuine love towards kids. And they wanted to use him to recruit, recruit. Excuse me too, because sometimes I get tongue tied with words and I don't be doing it purposely. It's just sometimes it don't roll off my tongue perfectly. I don't know, but bear with me, okay? And I feel like the reason why they did that is because he wasn't with the program. And no, I don't have a booger. That's just my nose ring. I need to find me a another scepter ring. But yeah, they got mad because of the fact that he wasn't with it. He was the advocate and they didn't like that. So they painted him as a villain. But y'all want to make a documentary on this guy when he's been proven innocent. and not guilty. Is it not guilty or yeah, not guilty? And y'all still wanna like, come on now, like this shit is so like crazy. Y'all need to do a documentary on them folks that's really out here hurting kids. Y'all need to do a documentary on these mothers, these parents that are voluntarily selling their kids to these monsters. Nobody want to talk about that too, right? Okay. But something about this movie, it spoke to me. Like it so much downloads. And I'm just like, wow. It shed light on the trauma and the generational curse that not just him and his family went through, but what everybody else in the black community goes through, especially back in those days. Like back in those days, it was very toxic. Very toxic. I just found out about I'm about to say Jim Brown. Who the fuck is Jim Brown? What's his name? Oh, James Brown. And I'm just like sick bastards. Like him abusing that lady the way he was, and it was just yo, back in the days it was toxic. And a lot of people were super money hungry, and some people they didn't know how to handle money. So, but yeah, this movie really spoke to me. And after the movie, after I watched the movie like for 3, 4 days, probably the whole week after, I was just receiving downloads. It was like he was speaking to me. It was so weird. But yeah, so we're gonna get into it. I don't want to make this video too long, but I also want to say like the reason why I felt so connected to Michael is because we share the same North Node and South Node and moon sign. And him being a Pisces moon made me realize a gift within myself, and it made me embrace it even more. Like I have the key to like manifest what I want. And for the longest, like since I've been on my spiritual journey, like I've been saying affirmations, I've been writing affirmations down, plastering them on my mirror. So when I stand in my mirror, I just repeat them to myself. So seeing that he was doing that, I was like, that's crazy. And what made me get into that is because long ago I saw a post where they talked about how Michael used to do that. And I was like, huh, let me try it. And it's crazy how three like full circle, and it made me think back to when I had that epiphany, and I was like, you know, I didn't even know Michael was the Pisces moon. I never had the thought to go look up his natal chart. So seeing that, I'm like, oh my God, and then for him to have a south node and north node similar to mine, it makes me think like I wouldn't say I known him, but maybe I did know him in the past life. I really don't know. I'm sorry, y'all. My nose is itching, and you know what that means when my nose itch. Confirmations. Take a shot every time I say. But yeah, it really like it touched me. Don't start. Go get the ball. Go get it. Marioki, he's very bossy. Like he think he's the top dog in this house, and I have to like, you need to calm it down. You don't pay no bills in here. Go get it. He does that when he wants a toy, and he got like 5 trillion toys. No, go play with Zeus. I can't play with you right now. I'm doing something. Give me a minute. I wish I could flip the camera for y'all to see how he's looking at me. He's getting those little play with me. No, go play with Zeus. So yeah, so I feel like that's why I felt so connected, like so drawn to him. Not only because of the fact that he is a star seed like me, but because of the fact that maybe, I can relate to him in a certain way. But yeah, like I don't know. Maybe I'm onto something, maybe not. I'm not a pro at this, so this is all of this is my opinion and my perspective, okay? Now, um, his father, right? We're gonna talk about his father. His father, the downloads that I got from his father, the reason why his father was the way he was, and I feel like the reason why he was the way he was is because of his upbringing. Now, we don't know much about Michael's grandfather. Only thing I know is that his grandfather was in the military or the Navy base. I really don't know. I think he was a sergeant. I don't know. I didn't dig deep into it. Um, so I feel like the reason why Michael's father was the way he was is because of what he lacked in childhood. I don't know if his father beat on him the way he was beating on his kid. I think I need to censor some of my words, but okay. Um, but I feel like also the reason why MJ's father was toxic is because of the fact that he saw a light. He saw parents be knowing when your child is going to be that one. And two, Michael always stood up for himself because nobody else was standing up for him. And you can tell, like, in the black community, a lot of people put up with certain things because that's my parent or that's my loved one. That's just how family are when that's just an excuse. Like no person, I don't care if you gave me life. I shouldn't deal with toxicity because you don't know how to regulate and control your emotions. You don't know how to be emotional intelligent enough to realize that, hey, this is not right. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like he was very jealous of MJ in a sense because he knew his son was going to be something. You know how some parents when you out here doing good in life, they hate because they like, well, how come at that age I wasn't like that? Or, some people just be like, I had the opportunity and I screwed it up and I see another person getting that same opportunity as me and they going for it and they succeeding. And I feel like that's the reason why he was so hard on him because of the fact that he saw his light and he was trying to dim it as much as possible. That's my theory behind it. Like, and I feel like his relationship with his mother, he didn't like that as well. His father was a sick, twisted, like that's all I gotta say. That man is evil. That's why he always walk around his people who walk around like this are evil. And that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, look at Diddy. Diddy be walking around like they stuck on stupid. Like, what's wrong with you? You know? I don't know. But Michael was definitely born in a karmic family. His mother didn't advocate as much as she should because she didn't love herself enough to say, no, I ain't gonna put up with this and take the kids and leave. She felt like she can change that man when you can never change a man that's not willing to change for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, no person should sit there and be like, oh, well, that's my man. When the person being super toxic and super draining, super abusive. And I feel like back in the days, a lot of people dealt with that because of the fact that kids are involved. We need to stick it out for the kids and all that stuff. But also, people need to realize that the signs are there way before even the kids come into play. So I feel like the signs were there from the jump. But Miss Catherine, she felt like she loved him so much that she can change him and whatnot, when really ain't no changing if Joe don't want to put in the work. You know what I mean? Like, and it's sad. It's very sad. But hey, we're gonna talk about, there's speculations about him being autistic. Where really I think he was neurodivergent. I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but I notice a lot of people who are autistic are very talented beings, very gifted beings, highly favored, and he probably was on the spectrum because in the movie, when they were in the living room practicing and stuff, rehearsing, the father kept telling Michael, "Look at me, look at me." And as a neurodivergent, we don't like to make eye contact. And later on in life, he said it too. He don't like making eye contact with people, and he don't like people making eye contact with them. If you know, the eye is the window to the soul. That's why I don't like making eye contact with people, because, and I can also relate with him because on that part, because of that factor. I don't like people looking at me. I don't like making eye contact for too long because I start picking up on things and I'm like, whoa. And him just being so scattery and so whimsical and always imagine, like using his imagination for a lot of things, it plays a part in being neurodivergent. And then also the Pisces moon come into play. But I feel like he probably was on the spectrum. And a lot of people are like, we need to remove the stigma of when you hear a person being on the spectrum that they look and act a certain way. Today's age, when you hear or see somebody being on the spectrum or being autistic, you mostly look at the ones that are, when you hear the word autistic, you automatically think of the ones that are nonverbal and, what's the word? I want to say non-compliance, but that's not the word. But you know what I mean? Like they aren't like they not fully here. You get what I'm saying? And if you want to dig deep in autism, it means that like their soul is trapped. Like they are in a different dimension. Their vessel is here, but their spirit and is in a. I might sound crazy, but their spirit is like in a different dimension, and it can't come into the vessel to like fully articulate. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I'm not a specialist in autism. That's just my perspective. That's just my perspective. I don't know. But yes, I feel like Michael was very neurodivergent. And the fact that he has a thing for rhythm, like that man can start beatboxing and creating off the dome. Like that's some gifted ass shit. And a lot of people that are into like musical and arts and, you know, music and art are like somewhat neurodivergent, slightly artistic, slightly on the spectrum. They need something that's going to stimulate their mind. And sometimes music is that. Like me, I love music. When I'm going through a manic episode, or if I'm like depressed, which is similar to manic episode, when I go through my moods, I turn on music or I go paint, stuff like that. And I feel like that's another reason why he was so passionate with music, because it was his escape from the reality. It was something to take his mind off of the dark stuff that was going on in that house. Like there was some very dark stuff. If you know, you know. If you don't know, look up some past interviews about Latoya. Latoya, even though she did say that it was a lie, but if you really dig deep, it makes sense, and I believe her. And she's a Gemini. One thing about Geminis, they may tell a joke, but they never tell a lie. And Geminis always speak up, just like Sagittarius. Sagittarius and Geminis always speak up for things, but Sagittarius, when they speak up, a lot of people kind of dust it under the rug because they think because of their delivery. Sometimes it's very blunt, sometimes it's very forceful. Look at my baby up here. R.I.P. Chloe. Um, it's very blunt, so sometimes people don't take it because of the delivery sometimes. But with Geminis, they always speak up and they kind of get dust under the rug a little bit, not as much as Sagittarius. But yeah, it's very sad, and I don't want to go too deep, and I don't want to get demonetized on YouTube. But do y'all research on that, and I believe it because he just looked like a sick bastard. Okay. Um, and then too, like him having all these stuffed animals and stuff like that. Give me a minute because this dog is gonna keep on barking, and I just don't got the time. Like he always do this when um I'm doing something. He always do this. Like, but yeah. Oh yeah. And then him like moving around and stuff, that was his way of channeling, like, stimming, if you see an autistic person, they always jumping around, they always like jittery and stuff, is because they have built up energy inside of them and they don't know how to express it. They don't know how to let it release it. So I felt like him dancing and stuff, that was his way of releasing all that built up energy. And I felt like another reason why he was on the spectrum because he had all them toys. And two, Michael didn't have a lot of friends, so that could be another case. But for him to resort to like toys and isolating himself, that was another reason why I felt like he was neurodivergent because he always chose solitude. It make him felt comfortable. Even till his adulthood, he still chose solitude. And I can relate with that because when you are a person and he's an empath who can pick up on people's energies and stuff and it gets too overwhelming, sometimes you have to isolate. And I think that was his main reason. He didn't understand it when he was young. Until he got older, he fully understood. But when he was young, he didn't understand. So he resort to collecting, books and stuffed animals. It was his comfort zone. So yeah. And then his father is another scene in the video, in the movie, where this is when Michael, broke the news to his father that he don't want to be under his management no more. And I guess this is when he wants to do the last tour. And his father was in that room, and his father was like, um, "You're not like everybody else, or whatever." And that confirmed everything that I said. I was like, yeah, because his father knew. His father knew. His father knew that his child was different, and he hated it. He hated it. He hated it because that's what Joe wanted to be. Joe wanted to be Michael, point blank, period. And I feel like his father was dibbling dabbling in some stuff. And then he also hexed him with his words because he said that nobody's ever going to understand you outside of here and inside of here, or whatever, however he said it. And I was like, that's fucked up because as he got older, it really played out like that. A lot of people misunderstood him, and that sucks. But, you know, everything happens for a reason because we as in the fans, we understand him, we appreciate him, and we love him dearly. Even still to the afterlife, we love him dearly. Like when I first heard the news of him passing, it broke my heart. And I remember this day like it was yesterday. Only 3 celebrities that passed, well, 4. four celebrities that passed away that really hit me, and I was like, whoa. It was Michael, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I think I just came home from school. I got on the computer, and this is when AIM was popping, and one of my friends at the time hit me up and was like, yo, such and such MJ passed. And I was like, what? I was like, nah, ain't no way. Ain't no way. And I remember turning around, looking outside the window, and the sky was like pink. It was like a coral orange mixture. Outside looked crazy, like, and the sun was fully out. It wasn't setting or anything. It was fully out. And I was like, and it started raining. It started raining. It was like a light mist. And I was like, oh my God. And I just broke down crying. And I broke down crying after I got the confirmation because I went on Google and I searched it up, and the first headline was like, passing of Michael Jackson. And I was like, ain't no way. And I bawled my eyes out. Like, I'm about to cry now, but I'm not. But I bawled my eyes out because I was like, oh my God, ain't no way. And Aaliyah was the first one that really shook me to the core when I first heard her pass away. I bawled my eyes out with her as well. Left Eye was another one, but it didn't hit me as hard. I was like in disbelief, and I was like, wow. And then XXXTentacion. But only reason why Triple X hit me is because of the video that I saw, and I didn't even know what was going on. It was one of those where like you just click the video and you just see him in the car, and I was like, no, this don't even look good. Like, I had chills all through my body. I was like, ain't no way. And then I got the confirmation after watching that video, and it messed me up. It messed me up. Because when I saw that video, I was like, no, that don't even look right. It didn't sit right with my spirit. I was like, nah, nope. I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that I saw him in that state. And for a person to just pull up and then to just record somebody like that was sick. That anyway. But and then also him like not eating as much and stuff. That was another way of him keeping his vessel clean so he can be more accepting for like downloads and channeling as well. Um and food carries energy, so I'm not trying to say like his mom and stuff was negative, but yeah, like that's another thing too. I notice a lot of autistic kids, they love to eat. So that's why I feel like I don't think he was fully autistic. I just think he was on a spectrum. He was probably not neurodivergent, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, everybody's brains ain't wired the same, and we need to understand that and accept that. Like, it's okay, you know? Um, but yeah, we're gonna talk about the Pepsi accident, right? And what really stood out to me was the fact that his crown was affected the most. And I said, oh, this was a spiritual attack because of the fact that he vocalized how much he takes time to isolate himself so he can channel, right? So he can get download. That's how he become creative. Unlike some folks, they like to steal from others. He wasn't stealing from nobody. He was just taking off the dome. You know, God was giving him a gift and he accepted and he fully embraced it and he went with the mission. He went with the flow. And for him to get burnt on the crown spoke value to me. And the fact that it messed him up to the point where it burned his nerve endings, I was like, yeah, this was a spiritual attack. And I remember crying because I was like, that's crazy. Like, I watched the first movie where he was in his own bio, It didn't hit me like that. But for now, all of a sudden, it's hitting me. And I felt like I said to myself, I said I wasn't going to watch that movie, because, Janet wasn't in there. And I felt like, oh, well, Janet ain't supporting it. I ain't supporting it. But I ended up watching it because I said, let me just see it. I just felt led to. Let me just say that. And I'm glad I watched it because it opened my eyes to something way different. And I was like, that's crazy. And I feel like his father had a play in it. I really feel like his father had a play in all of that. And the fact that he was so eager for MJ to do that tour and do that commercial. I was like, ain't no such thing. Ain't no such thing as coincidence. This was all orchestrated. And that's fucked up. That's very fucked up. Even down to where they were in the hospital and his mom was like, I should have protected you. That confirmed it for me because I was like, like, why would you say that now after the damage was done? And then her looking at him and side-eyeing him, and then she knew, but she still stuck by him, which is also effed up. But hey, um, but because of the fact that that happened, I feel like it was also a lesson for him to put up stronger boundaries. And we're gonna talk about the immune disease that he ended up developing as he got older. Everything happened just so he can learn how to put up stronger boundaries. As an empath, as a indigo, as a star seed, we attract we attract dark light because of how vibrant our light is. So they was just doing every and anything to dim his light, and he came back 10 times brighter. And if you are an empath, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's a very sick place that we living in. But this is also teaching us a valuable lesson in life. And everybody's lesson is different. But for him, it was teaching him to have stronger boundaries and to love on himself a little bit more. The reason why he got that cosmetic surgery is because it reminded him of his father, when in reality he needed to learn to accept that that's who he is and his father is who he is not, you know? And I feel like that's when the vertigo comes into play. I feel like, and it's 333 on the clock. Let's look it up and see what that means. That might be a message for someone in here. And I hope y'all can hear me because I'm gonna be so mad if I do this video and y'all don't hear me. So 333 is a powerful spiritual symbol of growth, encouragement, and divine support. Seeing it repeatedly is a message from the universe to trust your intuition, embrace your creativity, and know that you are exactly where you need to be. Um, it means life path and growth. It confirms that your current plans are supported. It is time to put your ideas into action and trust yourself. Love and relationships. It encourage open communication, emotional expansion, and nurturing deeper connections with those around you. Career and financial, and points towards abundance and signals that you should align your work with your higher passions and purpose. It says also reflect on your thoughts. Notice what you were doing or thinking right before you saw the number. This often provides clues to what the universe is guiding you towards. Trust your gut. The angels and ascended masters. Michael Jackson is an ascended master, okay? Um, are the angels and ascended masters are believed to be nearby, guiding your next step. Take action. Consider it as a cosmic green light to pursue those goals and creative projects you have been putting off. And like I said, I did this video, I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. I lost track and I didn't put it out because I didn't like what I said at the ending. So, and like I said, I don't know how to edit, so I'm just redoing it. So that's confirmation. Um, and I feel like because of him being so, what was I saying before that? Damn, I forgot. I'm gonna just go in my notes. Um, okay, so why people were so mean to him and so like is because of the fact that hurt people. They couldn't understand why he was so loving, so giving, so gentle. You know, we live in a toxic ass world. So yes, I can relate because I'm just genuinely a nice person. I'm a giver. I will give the clothes off my back if I trust like if people wasn't so fucked up and I saw a homeless person, I would literally let them live with me right now until they get onto their feet. I will help. But people like to use and abuse nice people. That's why I said he needed to learn how to put up stronger boundaries with people because not everybody is your friend. And later on, it showed like all the people that was around Michael and Kiki Ken, and they all turned their back on him. They all turned their back on him, and that's sad. But hey, um, and you know what's also messed up? I said it here. I wrote it down. I said, um, they used his father dark path and painted him as his father. Now, if y'all looked up the whole Latoya thingy, that's why Michael did what he did because cosmetic wise, because he didn't want any attachment, even though he is still bloodlinely, I don't know if that's a word, DNA wise, he's still connected to his father. But looking, that's why he made that song Man in the Mirror. And it's so crazy because he hated everything about that man. And looking at himself made him feel like he was looking at his father. But he also needs to realize that, like I said earlier, your father is not you. That's when the generational curses got broken. He had to realize, like, I'm not my father, and that's okay. I'm here to transmute that dark energy into light, and he did that. But we're going to talk about vitiligo, right? So the skin condition, that's when, you know, the melanin starts to fade out. You start to lose pigmentation or something like that. And I looked up the meaning. Sometimes trauma manifests into autoimmune diseases. And I looked it up because I was like, as I'm getting all these downloads and I'm thinking about, you know, him getting the surgery and him, I was like, and then my thought went back to vitiligo, and I was like, huh, let me look it up. So now, listen to this. What is the spiritual meaning of vitiligo? Vitiligo is often interpreted spiritually as a journey towards self-acceptance, resilience, and unity, signaling a need to overcome inner separation, forgive, and embrace the true identity. It is associated with karmic lessons, detoxifying personal energy, and in some tradition, excuse me, representing a divine white blessing or a call to deeper spiritual awareness. And I feel like as a Pisces moon, we get trapped in our head. And I feel like during that time, even though he didn't show it to the world, but behind closed door, I feel like he was really beating himself up. Like he was beating himself up. He was very insecure when he was young about his acne. He would just pick at himself about the most craziest thing. And that man is very beautiful. Still is beautiful. You get what I'm saying? Even when he got older, he was beautiful. And that just made sense. I was like, yo, that's crazy because him doing what he did, I mean, is because of the fact that he was being so hard on himself for no reason. Because of his sick father, you know? And I was like, oh my God. And I prayed and I was like, I hope he knows that, you know, it's okay. And, I just I was going through it. I was like, am I, like, I thought I was going crazy. I was like, why am I getting all this download? And then I looked up the spiritual meaning of lupus. Now, as he got older, that's when you start seeing, like, a lot of people would say he started to look scary, but that was the side effects of lupus, especially with the eyes and stuff. Like his eyes were like popping out a little bit more, and him wearing the eyeliner and stuff is because of lupus. Lupus was really beating his butt up. Now I looked up the spiritual meaning of lupus, and it often resolves around themes of self-acceptance, inner conflict, and finding purpose amid chronic illnesses. Excuse me. It is frequently interpreted as a profound struggle with self-worth, where a body immune system attacks itself, reflecting a need to address internalized stress, unmet emotional needs, and the release of control. Now, if you know Michael, he's a perfectionist, and I feel like him not handling the childhood trauma that he had. And then on top of that, he even went to therapy. He ended up not trusting them because they were talking about the stuff which is that man didn't have a good support system. So everything that he was dealing with, even to adulthood, and then additional trauma that he got it was just too much to the point where it manifests into an immune disease. And it's so sad. It's so sad. Like that man was really going through stuff, but he never shown it. He never shown it. And a lot of people, especially us indigos and us chosen ones, we go through stuff and sometimes we don't show it. We head it on and keep it moving. Like, and that's why I say I can relate with him because I was going through a period of my life where I was severely stressed and I was dealing with childhood trauma. I was going through that by myself. It got to a point where I was like, damn, do I really need a therapist? And it low-key kind of manifests into an immune disease. And I was like, but luckily I was able to catch it on early on, so I'm good now. But when I looked those up, it made me reflect back to me, and I was like, whoa. And it made me even more sad. I was like, damn. So imagine that, like him being such a star, he don't have privacy enough to where he can take a break. He didn't even have time to take break for himself. That's why it was just so much for him because he was just work, 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 work. That's why he hated tour. And I feel like music was the only way he can but I feel like later on he got tired of doing music. And I'm gonna be honest, I feel like he did. That's why he named that tour This Is It, because he got tired. That was gonna be his last tour and it ended up being it. But the title for his tour had a deeper meaning for me. And I was like, even when I first heard it, I was like, this is it? What do you mean? What do you mean? I never took it as like, oh, he was going to transition. I just took it like, okay, he's retiring, you know? But I didn't know that it was going to get that deep. And I was like, wow, this is crazy because everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. And I don't care what nobody says, oh, it's physical or science. No, everything is spiritual. And the fact that I looked up those two meanings for those immune disease and it reflect him, I was like, it makes sense. It made total sense. And then on the lupus, it says, um, where it says, reflecting a need to address internalized stress. That man was going through a lot, especially when he's being accused of a crime that he didn't want to do. I mean, didn't do. Like, imagine you being listed as a monster and you're nowhere near that. That will really fuck you up. That will really mess you up. Just like you know how when your body gets burnt out, it takes almost 5 to 6 years for your body to fully recover. That man didn't have time. He didn't have time for himself at all. He didn't have time to sit back and reflect and do the inner work and heal himself. And that's why it led to where it led. That's why he couldn't sleep. Is because he was just thinking about, oh my God, I gotta do this tour and all this. He was tired. When you get to that stage where your body is on flight and fight and flight mode, sometimes your body just eventually gives up. And I think that's what happened. It just gave up. Like it was like enough, enough. And that's sad. Netherland was the only way he can escape as well. But that's not enough when you're not decompressing. You're not releasing the dark energy that's within you. I don't know, y'all. I don't know, that messed me up. Oh, another meaning for lupus is it means inner conflict and self-acceptance. Um, it is often viewed spiritually as a physical manifestation of an internal battle, potential stemming from lack of self-love, self-criticism, and holding on to long-term stress. Boundary setting. The skin, frequently affected by the butterfly rash, which he ended up having around his leg, I think. Um, is spiritually linked to how an individual interacts with the world. Lupus may reflect a struggle with personal boundaries or feeling of being vulnerable. And I wrote his heart was pure. And that's why he was so loved because everything that he endured, he still showed up to the world with grace and love and with a smile on his face. He was truly highly favored, and that's why he was able to accomplish a lot. Anointed as the ascended master. I'm just going through my notes to make sure I didn't skip anything. But yeah, yeah, y'all. That's my perspective on Michael. And I hope you guys like this video and continue to view him in a good light. The whole documentary that they're coming out with, don't even watch it. It's bullshit. Like, he's getting so much love right now, and then now they're trying to dim it. You see how people are, even when you're not even here, they still trying to dim it. It's so much things that y'all can do a documentary on, but y'all want to talk about somebody who is no longer here no more and still bring high vibrational energy onto this earth. And y'all want to dim it because y'all motherfuckers is sick. Like, I just can't. But yes, continue and stop doing these skits where y'all pretending to be Joe and y'all beating and y'all got somebody else acting like Michael and beat like stop it. Stop doing when y'all want to show up and represent him and y'all want to dress up as him. Stop doing the white face. That's so disrespectful for people who has vitiligo. That is so disrespectful. Y'all are not true Michael Jackson fans. That's very disrespectful. Stop doing that bullshit. If you want to do a comedy on Michael, do it regularly. Don't do no weird shit where like y'all just do weird shit and it's weird. That's all I'm gonna say. So I hope you guys having a good day and I'll talk to y'all later, okay? Bye.